welcome to the Wise Owl Knits Fibercast. This is Knit 15. Woo! Can you believe 15 episodes? I can hardly believe it. I'm Cheryl Beckridge, I'm your host, and I am the designer and pattern writer behind Wise Owl Knits. You can find me at wiseowlknits.com. I'm also Wise Owl Knits on Instagram. And that Wise Owl Knits has 2 S's. Wise Owl Knits with just 1 S on YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. I'm also Wise Owl Knits on some other things, but I don't really check those. So if you see me there, don't send me a message because I'll likely never see it. But if you want to get a hold of me, you can send me an Instagram message. Is probably the best of any social media. I'm on that much more than Facebook. You can leave comments on YouTube and Rumble, and I do check those. You can contact me through my website. There's a contact me form, or contact us, something along those lines. You'll understand when you see it. And you can also send me an email at cheryl@wiseowlknits.com. Woo! Got through all of that. On the Fibercast, I talk about all kinds of things. Talk about what I'm wearing, projects that I've finished, things that I'm currently working on, and my designs in progress. Today, I'm also going to talk about my results at the State Fair, because I entered a few items in the State Fair. We'll talk about comments from the previous Fibercast, a book that I've finished, and just general life updates. So no big important topics like exercise or fasting today. Just what's been going on in my life. Okay, we'll start off with what I'm wearing. This is the Brave and Kind shawl. And it's a crescent-shaped shawl that is brioche and lace. And I made this in honor of several of the knitters that experienced cancellation through all the social justice wars in 2019 and 2020. The yarn is the speckled yarn, which is the main color, is from Tina at Awenid Yarn and Fibers. And the lace stripes are mini skeins from Maria at Tuscan Knits. So if you're interested in this shawl, hop on over to my website. It is available there. Nice shawl if you're looking to learn how to do brioche, and the lace is an easy repeatable pattern too. So again, it is the Brave and Kind shawl, and just a nod to the courageousness of some of the people that experience cancellation. We'd love to support them by purchasing their yarns or their patterns, or whatever part of the fiber business that they're in. Okay, we'll move on to finished projects. Christmas stockings. This one I showed last time. That is the Christmas stocking for the dog Bella. It still needs Bella's name on it, and it needs a lining. Got another one finished, and this is for Luke. And again, still needs Luke's name on it and a lining. I've got 3 more Christmas stockings to do this year before Christmas. Luke has 2 little sisters, Irene and Alice. So I've got to do their stockings, and then the last stocking that I need to do is for my nephew Kyle, who is in the Army Reserves, and I'm going to do a patriotic stocking for Kyle. So those are yet to come, but hoping to just plug away at those and get those all done. I'd like to get them done by the end of August, but I think by the end of September is probably more doable. I've got the next one on the needles already, so just the first section. So that is my finished projects and just a sneak peek into what I'm currently working on, what I'm making. So I'm making the Christmas stocking for Irene, and I didn't bring that down here with me. I'm also working on a baby hat, and this is to the point where it needs to go on either DPNs or magic loop for the crown. This is a hat that I've had been working on at work, and then I also took it on our vacation with us to knit around the campfire. It doesn't really smell like smoke, so that's good. Might smell like wet dogs too. There were a lot of wet dogs camping. The next thing that I'm working on is also a design project, and let me show that to you, and then I'm also going to put a better picture up here for you. This is a design that I'm working on that uses some yarn from Knitting McPurley. It's DK weight, and the colors, the blue is Fathom. The contrasting color here is Morel, which is a color that's near and dear to my heart because we had a dog named Morel, and morel mushrooms are my favorite. I love to go hunt for them. The pink is Fantine, and then down here we've added in some bougie. I've split for the sleeves, and I'm working on the body now. I haven't decided if the color work is going to go all the way down the body, but I think that's really what I'm leaning towards at this point, is to have the entire sweater be color work, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be long sleeves rather than cap sleeves. So, yet to be named project, a lot of 1x1 color work, which I find really enjoyable to do, and I like the look of it. It's simple enough that people that are just beginning in color work can do it and have it look pretty smooth. So a nice project for beginners, but I think more experienced people will like it too. I did do a, oh gosh, what's it called? Where the cast on looks kind of rolled. I will add the name of that because that is just slipping my mind right now. So this sweater is my first design that I'm talking about this week. I've also got some other yarn that I got from Melanie at Revolution Yarns. I'm going to just step away and grab that. This is also DK, and this color work is called Cake by the Ocean, and it is a speckled, a speckled yarn, and then the blue is called Cowboy in Me. I'm holding that in a funny way, which might cause some problems later. Let me try and get this more in order. I've got 3 skeins of the blue. Revolution is in Canada, and these look a little crumbled up, but that is because they came, much like the yarn from Skeins comes from New Zealand. It was in a vacuum pouch to make it flat, and not take up as much space. So it looks a little crunchy right now. It will not be that way when it's knit and once I wind it up into cakes. I haven't wound it yet because I know I'm going to want to cast on right away. And I want to get a little further in the other design before I jump into this one. Though I have been doing lots of charting on this one to figure out what kind of a motif that I'd like to use. So the Revolution project will be coming soon. I'm also in the test process on a couple of projects. One is the Wildflower tee, and I'll move this over here. This is my second version, and it used 3 colors of yarn. It's a cap sleeve tee, and my original version is at the state fair right now because that was one of my state fair entries, and it was a 5-color t-shirt. It had, the main color was green or meadow from Knitty McPurley, and then it had 4 other colors besides the meadow. So that pattern is at its second go round with the tech editor right now, and I think I'll have that back from her by this weekend. So I will be sending out a request for testers, I think this weekend, at the very latest, the beginning of next week. And I'll probably send a couple of emails because I know it's easy for things to get lost or buried in your inbox. So the Wildflower tee testing will start very soon. And if you're interested in testing, I don't usually limit the number of testers. So if you're interested, let me know and I will invite you to the group. I always do a group on my website. It has a feature that lets you do a group, and that way everybody can put all their questions or progress and pictures in that one place, and it makes it a lot easier for me to follow along. And it also helps everybody that participates because they can see the questions and answers that other knitters have, and they can talk back and forth amongst themselves too. So I will start a group on my website for the Wildflower tee. I have an ongoing group for my other test knit that is happening now, and that's for the Solomon poncho. And that also is one of my designs that's at the state fair right now, so I can't show you the model right now, but I will add a picture, and then I'm going to add a second picture from one of my testers. That's from Susan at Delightful Works, and she's about halfway. The picture that I'm adding is a little less than halfway, but she's making great progress, and it's a nice flat picture of all the cables so you can really see what it's going to look like. So those are my designs in progress. And now we'll move on to State Fair. So I did tell you that the Wildflower tee and Solomon poncho are at the State Fair. I entered 6 things, and those 2 both won blue ribbons. So that was exciting. I won $20. Woohoo! In the money. I'm in the money. Cost $33 to enter, so I'm really $13 down, but I got 6 tickets to the fair, so I think it's a good trade-off. And I just like entering. I think it's fun, and I enjoy a good competition. I also think it's just really good for our hobby and shows other people what can be done and maybe encourages some other people to try. If you live close to a state fairground or county fairground, I encourage you to enter because it really is fun to do. You get a critique sheet. I haven't seen those yet. I just know what the prizes are that I won. But they give you a little critique sheet with each one that tells you their thoughts on, they'll talk about stitches being even or uneven, or maybe how you wove in your ends. But it's always good constructive criticism. And, we don't always love to hear that stuff, but honestly, if you can just take it as constructive criticism and learn from it, it's a good thing. So that's my results from the state fair. It's fun to go and see how you did. And the first day of the fair is, especially in the Indiana Arts Building, which is where the knitting and sewing and quilting and artwork, photography, woodworking, all of the artsy, craftsy type stuff is in the Indiana Arts Building. So most of the people that are there that first day are in the same situation as me, where they're going to see what they did. And after I looked at my stuff, I was over in the quilting area, and I met a woman there who won a ribbon for an Afghan that she knit. And then she also got grand champion on one of her quilts. So she was excited. I was really happy for her. She seemed so genuinely excited about how she did. So if you can do it, it's a great thing to do. For me, it's easy because I live close, but you do have to take your items to the fairgrounds before the fair starts, because the judging happens before the fair starts. Then if you go see how you did, that's another trip to the fairgrounds. And then once the fair is over, you have to go back and retrieve your items. So if you're further away, it's a bit more of a challenge, but if you live close, it's a fun thing to do, and I encourage you to try. So that's my results in the state fair. Now, a couple of comments from last week. Well, actually, I think it was the week before. I'm going to grab my comments sheet. From Selfish Knitter, Colleen says, I've been curious about how people choose to enter projects in the fair and how they are judged. Well, I'm sure every fair is different. At our fair, the knitting is sponsored by the Indianapolis Knitting Guild, so I assume the judges are from the guild, but I don't really know that for sure. I also feel like, just from the comments that I have gotten, that the judges are fairly consistent from year to year. I think a lot of the same people do it, but I don't think it's totally the same every year. And as far as what projects you choose, they give you different categories, and what I do is I don't knit anything specifically for the fair. I, work on whatever projects I make that year, and then a couple months before the fair, I kind of go through and decide which ones would fit in different categories, and then choose which ones I want to enter. And for our fair, you can enter more than one thing in each category. Really, you could enter them all in the same category. And they're categories like color work and cables, or a one-colored sweater, with sleeves, without sleeves, baby items, hats, shawls and KALs are in their own category. So they've got different categories, and you can read through those and decide what you have might fit. Or you can look at the categories for this year and then work towards next year. That would probably be a good way to do it. I just have not ever done it that way. Then I got another comment from Melanie at Revolution Yarns. And she said, "Hi, first time watching. I love those Christmas stockings." Thanks for that. Last time, we talked a little bit about AARP last time, and Yarn, Chicken, and Shit said, "I got my first AARP mailer when I was in college. I still get them periodically, and I'm still not 50. It's been so obnoxious I will never join." I don't think I'm ever going to join either. Maureen M. says, "Hi Cheryl, thanks for sharing your time with us. Your Wildflower tea is so beautiful. It's way above my knitting capabilities, but maybe someday. I also love your color choices. Good luck with the fair. When my kids were little, they would enter cookies and drawings. My youngest won a ribbon once. The best part was getting free tickets to enter the fair. Such fun memories." And Deborah says, Deborah was commenting on the exercise part. She says, "I mainly walk and I am knitting dishcloths and trying a Shetland scarf." I'm sure that Shetland scarf will be gorgeous. Joyce says, Joyce Swenson, "I'm excited to see what you entered in the fair. I've considered entering the local fair, but have been too busy to investigate the process. I love to read and read mostly nonfiction and have been inclined that way for decades now. My mom just fell yesterday, and it's very difficult to recover at her age." So the last time, if you will remember, we were talking about the importance of exercise, and especially weight training, to keep your muscles strong and to give you better balance as you grow older and prevent some of those falls, so to prevent you from breaking bones like that. Lastly, well, maybe not lastly, but next I wanted to talk about the book that I finished reading, which is Becoming Elisabeth Elliott, and that is by, Becoming Elisabeth Elliott is by Elisabeth Vaughn, and that was about a young woman who became a missionary, married another missionary who was then killed by a tribe in Ecuador that was just a very violent tribe, and her husband and several other male missionaries were speared to death by this tribe. Elisabeth ended up going back with her young daughter and living with the tribe, and so much of the book was about her time there and how she was able to convert some of the tribe to Christianity, and just throughout that journey, and the progress that she made and what she learned, and it was also some personal relationships between her and another female missionary that lived there, and their disagreements on the way things should be done, and just the strife and trials that it takes to be in that position, and as much as working with the tribes people, getting along with the other missionaries. So it was a good book. I would like to read. Elisabeth herself wrote some books, so I think my next book will probably be something by Elisabeth Elliott. Just a very eye-opening book, and I'm happy that I read it, and I would suggest it for others. The other things that I wanted to talk about were just went on a camping trip to Holland, Michigan with my husband and other family members and friends, and just a lovely, lovely time. We took the dogs to the dog beach almost every day, and now I can say dog beach, and my dog Barley just starts jumping around. We rode our bikes to the beach, which was about a 5-minute bike ride from the state park where we were camping. And we ate a lot of ice cream and just had a lovely, relaxing time. So, vacation last week, which was why there was no Fibercast last week. Now back into the real world, back to work, and as we were camping, we had used my son's small camper, which we've used for the last couple of years, camping up there, and it's pretty small for 2 people. We've had other campers in the past and motorhomes that were a little bit larger. I really do want, don't necessarily have to have a king-size bed, but something bigger than sleeping on a dinette that folds down, which is hardly the size of a full-size bed. So I slept on that. My husband slept on one of the bunks, which are super teeny tiny. So we're working towards perhaps getting a larger trailer, or maybe a motorhome. If we get the motorhome, then we have to have a vehicle to tow behind it. And you can do it with many vehicles, but you have to do some finagling and maybe adding some equipment on with a lot of vehicles. There's 2 vehicles that are pretty user-friendly and easy to tow behind. One is a Jeep Wrangler, the other is a Ford Bronco. And we got a new Ford Bronco, and it's really, really pretty. Picture there. So I will be driving the Bronco. It's up a little high, which is another reason I need to stay in good shape, because if we keep this vehicle for 10 years, I'll be mid-70s by the time we trade it in on something else, and I've got to be in good enough shape to get in and out of that car for another 10 years. Not car, romping vehicle. I don't know. I guess it's an SUV. I don't know. I don't know what it's called, but it's really pretty and I like it a lot. So that's what's been going on in my life. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, subscribe, leave a comment below. I'm looking for book suggestions, so give me some of those, and like, subscribe, comment. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again next time. Bye.